Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And again, welcome to another night of this amazing month of Ramadan. I know I promised you guys yesterday that I was going to go into a little bit of more of the yesterday's presentation and do the kids section. But I kind of decided to switch it up at the last moment. And hopefully tomorrow, I think I'm going to do the other one. Just because I think this is so important, and I wanted to kind of just get a more of a spiritual element to the presentations, kind of mixing the both, going back and forth. So tonight, what I decided to do is the disease of absence of spirituality, and like al-marad al-faragh al-ruhi. So on this level, you're going to be able to see really how the spiritual end of your life is everything. And we talked about spirituality, and I'm going to do a little bit in terms of an intro, and then we'll go from there. So as I was going through, guys, with a lot of like my own development, and we're always far away, as we know it, we're always trying to perfect ourselves and get to like ourselves to the next stage. Understand that spirituality is ridha Allah, whatever Allah Azza wa Jal is happy with. So that's what spirituality is. When Allah is happy with your actions, He is radi. So ya ayyuhan nafs radiyallahu anhum, afwan, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. So when Allah is pleased with you on that level in terms of your own action, that is spirituality. Allah injects, Allah is in between you and your heart. And on that level, when you start going towards Allah, Allah starts maneuvering your heart in different ways, and you become something different. Your makeup becomes different, and on all levels: mental makeup, your emotional makeup, your physical makeup. Everything changes. Like simahim fi wujuhihim, like and even the expressions on your face. Like people will know, like you radiate in terms of something amazing. In terms of that comes like maybe the lights coming out of your face. In terms of that. But ultimately, on these kinds of things, it's so important that you understand that when you are going towards this and you're starting to maneuver yourself, understand that the number one thing within spirituality is ridha Allah. So does Allah love your action? Does Allah want your action? Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. So Allah loves what? The ones who do good. So Allah is showing you, this is what I like. Okay, do it. So al-ihsan, do that. On that level, you got to start understanding that when that happens and Allah tells you, okay, do what I'm telling you. Do this. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Show us the straight path. Allah has shown us the path. He's given us all the laws. He's given us all the regulations. But do we follow? That's our journey. That's what we have to bring our mental mind towards, and our emotional structure, and push it in that direction. Now, having said that, as I was going through, and you start understanding that pleasing Allah is following Allah's rules first. That's really what it is. Because if, let's say your teacher tells you, hey, I want you to develop to this level, but you have to do all these things. Condition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an expectation from the teacher that you're going to do these, because the teacher knows that you're going to be up here. Once you do these things and you follow these things, they're trying to instruct you to have certain mental codes and emotional codes. And if you do these properly, you're going to gain this. So Allah instructs us and says, He says to her, Inna hadaynahu sabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. So we've shown you the way. You're either thankful or unthankful. But Allah has shown us that. Okay? Your mother, your father, حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. So Allah talks about your parents. He's given you so many things in terms of guidance. He's given you a set of parents. He's given you the Quran. He's given you the Imma. He's given you so much that is very difficult. There's a hadith that says it's very difficult to make it into hell. It's very difficult. But how many of us are really struggling with that to get ourselves to the next stage? And I'm talking to myself first, guys. Like it's it's a real struggle to hold on to things these days, because it's very difficult to hold on to your principles. Temptations all around us from everywhere. The phone, it's a beast in terms of how many things it's gotten, how many things you can push you towards. But regardless of that, so now you're moving. Now you have to understand that following God's rules is number one. Number two is getting yourself to what? A conditioned state where you're actually connected to Allah's laws. So your heart wants to go in towards what Allah wants. And it wants to avoid what Allah doesn't want. That system is not easy to maintain. It's not, because life will hit us so hard. Now, I'm going to give you a couple conditions tonight. I'm going to give you a couple conditions that why we have a spiritual disease. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that affect us. And some of it is on the slide, some of it is not. Then at the end, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you two conditions. I'm going to talk about that. Then from there, I'm going to talk about what are the four things you have to establish. And you have to establish to get what? To establishing prayer, that you actually establish it. There's a difference between people who pray and actually establishing prayer. And what does that mean? So on that level, that's what we're going to go through today. And just to give it a different spin on the presentation today. So having said that, I promised you guys, here's another book. Let me just do that. So this book right here, let me just kind of shade it for you. This book right here is called Drive. It's an amazing book in terms of your own drives on the inside and the way it works. It's really, it's the surprising truth about what motivates us. And again, these are like the science in here is excellent. Always check the science with the religious factors. Always do that, and kind of hold science accountable, not just in terms of what the religion says. And on that level, you will understand, like, when, let's say you are in a class and you're in a class of, I remember taking some of my biology classes and / philosophical classes, like they kind of mix on these kinds of things. And the leading theory within science now is that there's everything psychological is biological. And what that means is there is no soul. And these people, like, who are writing, like Francis, who won the Nobel Prize for discovering DNA, who was known to be he was leaning to, had a hard inclination towards atheism, are the people who are saying these things. So you got to be very careful, even when you're in universities or where you're studying, that stuff is being eradicated. It's like there is no soul. Literally, that's what they're really saying, that everything psychological has a biological explanation, and the mind and the brain are literally one. But there's a difference right away when you say mind and brain. How come there's two words? That means there's differences. Once you have two words, that means there's two different definitions. And from there, that can go into, it's a problem there in terms of understanding these things. But please, I'm just giving you these examples because you really want to understand your own being and who you are and how you work. Because all of us, science, religion, everyone's trying to find out who they are on the inside. Who am I as a human being? How do I work? Do I have a soul? Maybe I don't have a soul. Some people are like that. Okay, some people don't believe. It's okay. Whatever you believe, it's okay. But find the truth. That's all that matters. And you'll see how that works right now. All right, guys. So all I'm saying to you here is that we're going to go to this, but we're going to push ourselves in terms of trying to get ourselves to really understand what eventually is prayer and what it means to your own soul and how that works. All right, guys. So we're going to go into that. And just if you can, again, take some really good notes on this one, it'd be something that really, really will help you, because just establishing these things, and there's actually more conditions, but I just don't have the time to explain all of them. So I decided just to do two of them. Okay. So number one, what are the conditions? And here we go in terms of this. And I'm going to go into the first one, which is condition one is really understanding that heedlessness from the truth. So what happens when you don't establish a spiritual realm? The truth becomes what? It becomes swayed and away from you. You start seeing the truth as falsehood and falsehood as the truth. That will happen in terms of how you like set up your justice scale, in terms of how you actually weigh things. وَأَقِيمُوا الْوَزْنَ بِالْقِسْطِ وَلَا تُخْسِرُوا الْمِيزَانَ. So hold the truth. It's all about in here. And we said earlier that have sincerity in your heart, the truth on your tongue, and present the truth through wisdom. Okay? So when a person is committing a sin, they do what? If you have gotten away from the truth and you haven't established this properly, this is what will happen to you. You will actually get to a point where your emotions are desensitized. And ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. So Allah has what? Put a seal on their hearts. Okay? He's put a seal on their hearts, their ears, and guess what? Their own what? Eyes. So your eyes can't even see the truth anymore. Okay? In the Quran says, تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدِ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. So truth is clear from error. Allah says very explicitly, He says truth is clear. Clear. And He says whoever forbids evil and grabs onto the truth, he has grabbed a firm handhold. فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Surely he's grabbed something very strong in terms of who he is. That's the way it works on that level. So when you are a person and you're about to, this is the way you check your heart in terms of condition one. And if you are heedless from the truth, this will happen to you. Hopefully it's not within all of us, but see, you don't know. And maybe somebody you know. So hopefully it's not nobody watching, but at the end of the day, maybe somebody you know. Now, when they do it without fear, number one. So imagine there's nothing in the heart. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says when he's doing al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy al-munkar, he says there are people, you will get to an age where people will see the truth. When they see something that's sinful being committed, they feel nothing, they say nothing, and they do nothing. He says this person is a dead man walking. Understand that. So they feel no fear, they do it without shame in front of Allah, and they commit the sin with bravery, commits the sin with ease. Wow. When the heart is in that stage, ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا. So in their hearts is a disease, and Allah has increased their disease. Now, inshallah, there's ways of coming back, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's say you strayed far away, and I'm going to give something that's right here. I'm not going to go in this is not in the lecture, but this is a side note. I just want to tell you something in terms of the types of sins. So there are the bigger sins that we have, and there are what? The smaller sins. The bigger sins are al-kaba'ir. The smaller sins are al-sagha'ir. The kaba'ir, Allah has, you will pay, kaba'ir are like ghiba, lying. We don't think that lying it's actually a bigger sin. Okay. Fornication, doing things that are adultery, stuff like that. Okay, those are the bigger sins. Allah has promised that you will face something within hellfire if you commit those bigger sins. Then from there, what happens? The sagha'ir. So how do you get rid of the kaba'ir? At-tawbah. At-tawbah. But which type of tawbah? It's the tawbah that you feel remorse in the heart. That the heart feels like it's remorseful that it has committed the sin. From there, let's you say you do tawbah and you commit another sin maybe a week later in the same sin. That week is a mercy of Allah. That you as a person has repented for 1 week. That's a mercy. So always be trying. Okay? وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَى. I'm always close to you. Allah's always there. So please call on to Him. If you strayed too far away from the road and you feel like Allah is never going to forgive you because of your sins, understand His mercy is bigger than His punishment. كَتَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. He is inscribed on Himself what? Mercy. Imam Ali alayhi salam begins the whole of Dua Kumail. Allahumma inni as'aluka bi rahmatika allati wasi'at kulla shay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. He repeats it again. Allah's rahmah is bigger than anything. Be greedy with His rahmah. Go back to Him. No matter how far you strayed off the road, go back to Allah. No matter how ashamed you feel, and you need to feel that shame, don't desensitize yourself. The way this happens, by the way, is you lie to yourself because you're destroying your fitrah, meaning what Allah has already programmed inside of you. You're going against your own human code and your own soul of what you need to be on the inside. And when someone does something the first time, it's heavy on them, but it becomes easier and it desensitizes the heart. Now, so that's the way it works. As-sagha'ir then, it says just stay away from the kaba'ir, and what? We will forgive the sagha'ir. We will just remove them for you. This is a verse in the Quran. So now that's the way you do it. Now, what are the sins? I'm going to give you just one example when we can't supplicate to Allah. Allahumma aghfir li ad-dunub alladhi tahbisu ad-du'a. I cannot even supplicate anymore. I cannot. What we said, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا. Right there. إِذَا دَعَ. If He calls. So we go so far away from the road that we feel so shameful. We feel like we're shackled that we can't even say Ya Allah anymore because we're so ashamed and we feel like we can't be forgiven. So here, what happens is it's al-ghaflatu an al-haq. You become heedless of what? The truth. Okay? So when you commit the sin and you do it with ease, you do it with bravery, you do it with what? No shame, no fear. Now Allah is telling you, come back to the truth. So come back to it because you are heedless of the truth. We come towards sin without what? Any fear. So when your eyes get blinded, then what? Your heart gets blinded. You will go towards sin and you will not even feel that there's something wrong. There's no alarm system in here to actually what? Tell you to stay away. There's no more fear. And as Imam Ali alayhi salam said, they feel nothing, they say nothing, and they do nothing against it. They're actually with it, and they may even enjoy it. That's dangerous. So now, Allah Azza wa Jalla also says, Nasallah fa'ansahum anfusahum. So they forgot about Allah, so Allah has made them what? Forget about themselves. When this happens, also what? You're pushing away from Allah. Now, Allah doesn't forget about you at all. Allah is always there for you. But when you close the door of mercy and you're going outside the mercy of Allah, that's it. That's it. There's nothing else to save you. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, you want someone to be punished straight away? Tell them, and let's say you fear someone's lying, tell them to swear that they are outside Allah's mercy, and they will be punished straight away. If they're lying, they will be punished straight away. It's incredible what Allah's mercy is. So be careful with that. Then the last one here, it says that فَلَمَّا زَغَى, like in terms of this aspect, please, like to me it's so incredible when Allah Azza wa Jal causes like the heart to deviate, you know. فَلَمَّا زَغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبُهُم. So I just really want you to understand, like when Allah Azza wa Jal, imagine like He just wants everything for you. And Allah loves you so much that He wants you to make it in every which way. That in Dua al-Iftitah, He says, because of my jahl, because of my ignorance, I feel like something you're not giving me and I want it in a rush. But I don't know that delay because of your knowledge. So jahl, my jahl, and your knowledge, that delay is actually better for me. We want something sometimes so quick. So, but Allah doesn't allow you. He's always bringing you back, but that free will is always yours. So be very careful with that. When Allah Azza wa Jal is trying to massage your heart and telling you to be patient, it's okay. Do what you need to do. Don't go after that. Don't do that. That is the condition within the heart. So Allah says, and when they deviate, Allah what? Causes their hearts to deviate. And that level, that's not the kind of people we want to become. So the first condition is what? You become heedless of the truth. You can't see anymore. What is right is wrong, and what is wrong is right. And I'll finish the slide by saying, guys, we have a hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it says, we are in a time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about his time, and he's saying we are in a time right now where truth is looked at as truth and falsehood is looked at as falsehood. He says there will come times where truth and falsehood will be equal. Then there will be times when falsehood has become truth and truth has become falsehood. Guys, we are in this stage now. Be very careful with what ideas are being pushed into your head. Be very careful when you are on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. Be very careful with your soul and what you're impregnating in it. We are in that era of what? That heedlessness. And we are there, that we are becoming heedless of the truth. So I'm very careful, and I try to be careful as much as I can, me, myself. And sometimes I can't see. That's why I have really good people around me. And you have to be able to do that. Seek great people and put them around you so they can help you maintain your journey. All right, so that's condition one. Let's go to condition two, guys. So on that level, condition two is when you come towards prayer, okay, you feel like what? It's a burden. So if you have an emotional disease, let's say spiritual disease, so condition one, as I'm going to take you to that, condition one is what? You become heedless of the truth. So if you have a spiritual disease, condition one is you become heedless of the truth. Condition two is what? Now, when you are going towards prayer, here's what happens. You actually feel like prayer is a burden. When you wake up in the morning, okay, you don't want to get up out of bed. Prayer is a burden. Or when you get up, and the Quran says kusala, they come to prayer in a lazy fashion. Okay? And there's a hadith by Rasulullah, or they pray it really quick. I'm not telling you to take forever, because there's other hadith that if you pray a quick salah with it, just bare essentials, and you do it with khushu', and you're going to see what I'm talking about next, and you do it with khushu', meaning the heart is there, it's present. You have mental and emotional focus. It's present. Hudurul qalb. Then that prayer is better than any other prayer. So you don't have to pray long. You have to just get the right emotional code while praying. Khushu' is very important. And at the end of the day, it's really, I'm going to have a whole presentation on khushu' and what is khushu' and what is the true salah. Okay, what is the best salah? Where does that happen? And how I'm going to do all that, hopefully, inshallah, in the next couple nights. But on that level, here's what happens when you get yourself to such a state that Rasulullah says, Saraqa salah. He says, you ever seen someone praying and you don't know where the ruku' starts and it ends? You don't know where the sajda starts and ends because they're moving so fast. Okay? You're supposed to get to a full stop when you're praying. Okay? Then go back down, then speak in terms of what you're doing. So that movement, okay, it's supposed to be there for a reason. So guys, like really think about your salah as you're moving through it. The salah is about 2 to 5 minutes max. But that 2 to 5 minutes, you just entered a meeting with Allah. So take your time and It's not that long, but for some of us, it feels like it's forever. So whenever you're going towards salah, it's very important to understand a hadith like Imam Ali alayhi salam, where he says, رِكْعَةٌ فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ أَحَبُّ لِيَ مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ وَمَا فِيهَا. He says, one rak'ah in this world is better for me than heaven and what is in it. Imam Ali alayhi salam was asked, why are you like this? Why is that so? Why is that important in terms of that it's heaven, comparing heaven to one rak'ah? He says, because here there's ibadah. In heaven, there is no ibadah. So worship is literally everything. It's that what? That emotional code that you want to connect with Allah. That's what happens in terms of you getting yourself right in terms of that. And you're going to see how important that is in terms of when that turns into actions, in terms of establishing prayer. And I'm going to give you 4 levels of being able to establish prayer. So now, when you come towards prayer, you feel what? عدم الإقبال على العبادة. You don't feel it. You're not connected. So take a little time. Connect to that Wi-Fi that Allah's casting out everywhere. Just like He sends what? He shines the sun on everyone. He brings it up every day and He sets it every night. And He's shining it on the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it doesn't matter. That's His rahmah coming on all of us. So just like He casts out His sun, He casts out a Wi-Fi of His signal that's connected to your heart. Pick up on the Wi-Fi and figure out the password. It's already inside of you. You have to dig inside to find that password. Connect to the Wi-Fi. Wow, what you have just connected to. It's the absolute supreme power. It's what everything is dependent on, including yourself. That He was to remove Himself just for a second, He would cease to exist. That's incredible in terms of understanding your own being. This is Ainu Ta'alluq, it's called. That you're connected to Allah, just like your thinking is reliant and your thoughts are completely reliant on you. Your soul is completely reliant on what? Allah Azza wa Jal. So really think about that in terms of those levels. So when He casts out, Allah is giving it every second, it's there. You can tap into that Wi-Fi any second. So do that. Connect through prayer if you can. So watch this now. Group 1 is قد أفلح المؤمنون الذي هم عن صلاتهم خاشعون. Okay? Now, on this level, guys, again, this stuff is just so incredible to me. الذي هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. So certainly when the believers have succeeded, okay, so when you have what? Established that what? Khushu', okay? They who are during their prayers are humbly submissive. Allah's already saying this to us, okay? And then He says in another verse, He says, فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا يَضُلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. And whoever follows my guidance, okay, he will never what? He will never go astray, and he will always be happy. He will be happy. Allah uses that word in the Quran. وَلَا يَشْقَى. Okay? And then on that level, when he submits and he gains that khushu', Imam Ali alayhi salam says to us, he is the top of the people who prayed, that they took an arrow out of his ankle when he was in sujood. That is khushu' on that level. So now the next group, okay? فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Now watch this. There's another group, okay? And I'm guilty of this just like everyone else. So woe to those who pray, but who are heedless of their prayer. So how many of us would wake up and what? We're not connected. We're saying words, but there's no meaning in our mind. One of the ways that we talked about in terms of connecting is what? The words and the mind have to connect. Sometimes we're saying the words, but our mind's running a different script. Meaning there's a movie going on in our head, of certain things that we've done throughout the day, or certain things that we want to do throughout the night, or whatever it is. Okay, it's our mind's running a script while our words, our mouth is running a different script. There's no connection between the meaning of the words and the words themselves. The meanings of the words are here. The mouth is just saying what it needs to say. So have those two connect and watch what happens. Now, we don't forget about prayer, but we postpone it all the time because we don't love to pray. Now, I want you to like think of someone you really love and just want to be with, or something you just really care for, like you're buying a car and you're going to wake up in the morning. Everyone's had that feeling that they couldn't sleep. Okay, I know that's difficult, guys. Trust me, it's not an easy state to get to, but you need to try. You need to at least try and ask Allah, Allah, help me with this. I don't know how to do it. Help me. Stay away from sin. Stay away from these things. Do that, number one. Okay, so you can see the truth, and when the truth comes, you walk through the door. Okay, and then when the truth of praying is right there, and it opens, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, that begins what? The door. So right away, pray. Open up your heart. Start doing these things. Okay, don't be heedless of your prayer. Don't do that. It's incredible when you start doing these things. Now, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through 4 different levels. What does it mean to establish prayer? وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي. So an established prayer so you may remember me. So prayer is your navigation system. It's a guidance system inside your heart. And we said the other day that it's pointed back to what? Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what salah is supposed to do. So whenever you pray, okay, you're remembering Allah. So you're becoming God conscious. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. So surely Allah says, He says, the best of you are the ones who are God conscious. So prayer brings you to God consciousness. You remember Allah. When you say, we begin with what? What's the adhan? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. We're pointing back to Allah because the world has diverted us. After we pray, then we go back to the world. We forget about it. Then when it's time to pray again, we go back to Allah. So it's salah is a constant navigation towards remembering Allah. And you get to practice every single day in terms of getting that emotional muscle to work and to actually connect to Allah. Just like you attach to many, the heart can attach to anything. Okay, what? You can what? Attach to Allah. And once you do that, it's incredible that Imam Ali alayhi salam says, I have sat at the gate of my heart and let nothing in but the love of Allah. Wow. And he even says in Dua Kumail, he says, if you were to put me in the pits of your hell and still allow me to speak, I will still call on you. I will never, ever think negatively of you because I know even your hellfire is mercy. Now, that's a different level of thinking. I'm not going to go there, but it's understand that connection with Allah is everything. It's everything, guys. That is the gateway to heaven. That is the key. When you connect in your prayers, it's everything in terms of getting that. So let's not be in group 2. Let's be in group 1 in terms of that khushu'. And you're going to see how that connects in terms of the next presentation, the next 4 levels, okay? Which khushu' is one of them. And then probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to delay that other presentation another day, and I'm probably going to do khushu' tomorrow, and what it means to have true khushu' and how that works, okay? And one thing I wanted to kind of go back, and there's one sin I wanted to actually mention, and I didn't complete that thought, but I want to complete it at the end because there's a reason I kind of give it that space. But what are the sins? Allahumma inni ighfir li الذنوب الذي تحبس الدعاء, I said. Okay, so when I can't even call anymore, what is that sin? And I'm going to give it to you at the end of the presentation. Now, here's what happens. We're going to try to establish prayer. So he says to Musa, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي. So establish prayer so you may remember me. You become God conscious through prayer. So prayer is the navigation system. And it's the heart connecting to Allah. So now when Allah casts out his Wi-Fi, what do? You connect to it, and the heart is now connected. And once it connects, that's it. Now your soul is wired properly. And everything else from A to Z happens when that happens properly. Everything else will fit. Now let's go into what? Establishing prayer. Number one, to establish prayer, you got to pray on time. Prayer on time is everything in terms of when that time and when you enter the window of prayer. Okay, you wake up, and some of us wait to go into sujood. We can't wait actually to go into sujood. Some of us have that affinity towards go back towards Allah Azza wa Jal. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, when it was time to pray, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi would say to Bilal, Ya Bilal, arihni ya Bilal. He says, please ease my heart. Ease my heart. Say the adhan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You've just entered a time of ease. Hayya ala khayrul amal. Come to the best of works. The best thing you can do at this time, Allah's already telling you in the adhan. Okay? It's the best thing. Drop everything. That there's actually a hadith from Aisha, and she says about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we would be sitting with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when we are sitting with him and salah time comes, he would treat us like strangers, as we didn't know him and he didn't know us. He would just get up and pray. It's time for prayer. That's how serious we should take this. And I understand life hits and it's hard, and especially we're in the middle of the day. And actually, there's a hadith that talks about a salatul wusta. What is the best prayer to maintain and establish is the middle of the day prayers. Dhuhr wal asr. Why? Because there's so much work. Okay, it says hafidhu. So maintain that. That's incredible. So that when salah now, you're entering in a place of ease where there's no worry. Ya Allah, I've let go of the world and I'm coming what? To you. That is beautiful when you can do that. Number two is they pray with a mental and emotional heart. This is khushu'. And as we talked about that, it says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. They have what? Khushu' in their hearts. And when that happens and you have that connection, you've connected to the Wi-Fi, you're going towards taqwa, which is what? God consciousness. And now you're establishing yourself where your mold is being changed on the inside out. And now when you actually are conducting yourself in terms of in your prayer, you pray on time and you have an emotional heart, watch what's going to happen. These first three, okay, are going to establish a certain program in your heart. And when that program takes effect, watch what the last thing tells us, okay, the Quranic verse. Now, if you do these first three, what will happen is you will establish prayer. And once you establish prayer, you're not like any other person who just prays. A lot of us pray, but there's a difference between establishing prayer and actually praying. So now here, number three is they do the nawafil, the extra prayers. That's what they do. They do that. Now from here, it's completing. If there's something missing in your salah, it's completing that. Or go even further. Go to Salat al-Layl. That is purity. Now you're just with Allah. Nobody sees anything. It's in the middle of the night. And you open up the Quran and your heart starts to cry. Not your eye, your heart is in a state of submission. And you cry to Allah. And you say, Ya Allah, today I did this. Please forgive me. I couldn't control myself. Ya Allah, forgive me. I've done this. You're you and I'm me. You're strong and I'm weak. Go into the munajat with Imam Ali. Go in the middle of the night. Talk to Allah. I'm telling you, that's a place that is a sanctuary for your heart. Enter that zone with Allah and watch what happens to your own being and watch what you feel inside. It's completely different level of euphoria that when you connect the Wi-Fi properly and Allah touches your heart, just a little sprinkle. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says to Kumail, he says, what sprinkles in you, meaning that khushu' overflows in me. He is the master of that. Imam Ali was the master of prayer. Imam Ali was not about his sword. It was about his khushu'. His power stemmed from his khushu'. That he says, what? I didn't lift the gate of Khaybar with a physical strength. I lifted it with a spiritual strength. Imam Ali's power came from his salah. Imam Ali's power came from his ruku'. Imam Ali's power came from his sujood. Do that. That's a formula for your own being. Mold that. So he says, Imam Ali says, urawwiduha. He says, I mix my soul with it. Urawwidu nafsi. He says he's mixing his soul. Imagine people mix cement or you mix food, you bake a cake. He's mixing it. Now you bake the cake. Can you take the cake to its original form? You can't. You can't do that. You can't go backwards. It was liquid and it became a solid. You can't take it back. You can't take it back to its original form. So do that, where you establish it first in your heart, then it bakes and it hardens crystallizes into you, and it becomes you. And now who's gonna be able to remove that from you? No one. And what you have established is something great. It's amazing what you can do then when your heart is in a state of khushu' and you're connected to that Wi-Fi. So now, when you do these three, here's what happens. We started off with the verse, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ فَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. It says, if you establish prayer, so now, فَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ, so establish prayer. Now, if you have established prayer, what should happen? Your prayer now, because you've connected properly, you change your emotional structure, you've changed your emotional code. So now your heart detaches from the wrong things and what? Attaches to the right things. And now you see the sin and you don't like it. You say something against it and you actually do something about it. Your actions become beautiful. Imagine when you see someone stand where? You see someone stand up for someone else. And when they stand up for someone else, what happens to them? This is what they do. They get themselves to some person's being oppressed. And when they're oppressed, this person takes action. That conduct becomes what? Beautiful. Just like you see a beautiful face, there's beautiful mannerisms. So when someone stands up for someone that's being oppressed, you look at that person and you say, wow, he was brave, he was courageous, and he took this stand. Because what? His emotional code didn't feel the fear. It didn't say, you know what? No, he was humbled, he was strong, she or he, it doesn't matter. It's just Zainab alayhi salam, when she took that stand against Yazid, when Asiya took that stand against Pharaoh. So women can be 10 times stronger than men in certain situations. It just depends on the person's heart, not their gender. So on that level, it's incredible. Be it any kind of person that you are, you could be weak, you could be strong, but if you start molding yourself with salah, it's incredible when you establish then prayer. فَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. So when you establish prayer, then that turns into your actions by changing your emotional structure, and now you approach the right things and you avoid the wrong things. And now you're an amazing human being because you see what? The truth. You're no longer heedless of it. قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدِ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. Surely the truth is clear from error. And your mind now is synced on what Allah loves, and it pushes away what Allah hates and doesn't want. You're protected because you've picked the right choice. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. That is how you get yourself from point A, guys, which we started on one island, which is your mother's womb, and what? you're going to die and you're going to go to the next island, which is al-barzakh. Right now, you're in the middle of the ocean. So you started off on one island, now you're in the middle of the sea, and you're heading towards what? The second island, which is death. Please, during this time, find your navigation system in that vast ocean. Direct your heart and connect to Allah. And I guarantee you, when you cross, you're going to say, Alhamdulillah, that I did what I did. So inshallah, guys, I really appreciate, again, your time. And I'm grateful to be doing this in front of you. I'm trying to do all these things as well. So please keep us in your dua and pray for others. That's one way to actually, and hopefully I'm going to probably do another lecture like that, who to ask, inshallah, in terms of hacks. And I didn't forget the last thing is what sin stops us from what? Supplicating. It's this sin. Isha'atul fahisha, about other people. So when someone has a defect or something that they don't want others to know, or you go and you market that to other people, you talk about them. Listen, this is what eventually brings you anxiety. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal will stop that connection. The more you do that, and you spread bad news and bad things, be it truth or not. Sometimes it's the worst thing when something is truthful and we justify it by it being true, but you're hurting the other person. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, actually, he was asked, what is ghiba? Because that is one of the bigger sins. He says, dhikruka akhaka bima yakrah. To say something about your brother, if he was there, he would not stand for, and he would actually hate it to hear that about him. So let's protect our own hearts, and let's not get to a point where our hearts become black and there's no going back. Let's protect each other. When somebody's, talking about someone, tell them, it's okay. They're probably good people. Stop the ghiba. Because Imam Ali also says, when two people are talking, when the person who is talking and the person who was receiving the riba, they're both at fault equally. So, in some of us, when we're talking about others, this person is talking about a person to this person. What happens? This person in their heart, they're actually enjoying the riba. Understand that you're looking into a mirror of the other person. This person is actually you. The person who's talking, and you're actually enjoying receiving that message. Now your heart actually is enjoying the sin. ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. Let's protect each other, guys. Let's get ourselves away from these things and hold the truth. And don't allow your heart to connect to the wrong things that displease Allah, or it reduces your spirituality, and you go into what? Al-marad al-qalbi lil-ruhaniyah. I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.